What do you want to know about disinformation? I'm pretty good with that.
I mean, I just think it's interesting how, I guess, because I saw you
you
did a video where there was
Mm-hmm.
a Twitter account that was you taking down misinformation of a bot. Like, how do you initially determine a target? Like when you're scrolling your feed on Instagram or Twitter, X, whatever the fuck you want to call it, and you're like, that doesn't seem right. What's the process of going from like seeing something strange to proving it?
It really a lot of it depends. So a lot of it's the same as targeting. Like when you're finding a bad guy, right? I found bad guys before, and then I give that information to my client, and my client, does whatever with that information. But typically what I look for is stuff that it's hard to put. It doesn't smell right. And usually people will send me information, or they're consistently lying or consistently filling a Russian narrative. So once I discover that, the next thing I do is I take down like all their tweets or all their posts. And the next thing I do is I develop what's called pattern of life. Now, typically this is what we use to kill people. So like I can figure out when you wake up, when you go to work, when you eat lunch, when you come home, when you make lunches for your kids, when you go to bed. I know. I might know. I can even theoretically know what room you're in. And I can use I wouldn't do it. That's a weaponeering thing. But I might use tailor a bomb just to hit that one room that doesn't destroy the entire house. Right. So after I develop proof of life, it's fascinating. What blows my mind is people go to the same places every single freaking day. They go to the same places every day. You wake up, you go to work, you stop at the gas station, you come home.
Luckily, we don't.
TV. No, apparently you don't. But most people, they do the same thing every day. I mean, wake up, go to the gym, go to work, go home, go to the grocery store. So you develop proof of or a pattern of life. And from that pattern of life, you can go, okay, typically this person is online between this hour and this hour. They fall offline at this hour. Okay, this is when they're at lunch. So you can develop a pattern, and then you can actually take that pattern and go, okay, where does this pattern fall into play with a typical 8-hour workday? Okay, it's in Belarus. Okay, so this is where this person is. So then there's other tools that I can use, and one of the tools is if there's an email address, one of the ways to grab information is to look at records of when people have updated their antivirus.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. You can say, okay, so
Damn it, McAfee.
has this email address
You
been
and those whales.
used in an updated antivirus?
God
Okay,
damn it.
yes. Okay, what computer are they using? Oh, that's interesting. What is their keyboard language? Oh, it's Cyrillic. That's interesting.
Yeah, Cyrillic is a word. What's that? I'm sorry.
Russian.
Russian language.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
Russian
thank you, man.
text.
Appreciate it.
It's okay.
So it's that little packet in the beef jerky.
Don't eat that.
No, you don't eat it. That's the best part.
Honey, don't eat the Cyrillic.
So yeah, basically, that's just one of the ways. There's other ways. Like I found this one dude. This dude claimed
It's over, mother. I hate the Ukrainians. It's too late.
So this one dude claimed that Israeli snipers were shooting Palestinian kids in the head. All right. Now Israeli snipers use 338 Lapua. I'm
All
sure.
of them?
Oh, for the most part.
Or is that I don't know.
Well, 338 Lapua, 308. But you know what a 338 Lapua does to a human body, right?
Yes.
Or at least you can imagine, right? So no one's bringing their
big boy
kid
round.
in with a little hole in their head going, oh, my son was shot by an Israeli sniper. This one doctor claimed that he went to Gaza and he wrote an op-ed about it. And I read the op-ed and I'm like, that's weird. He said he got a headache from the drones overhead. I'm like, that's weird. These drones are flying way higher than you can actually, hear. Maybe depending on the kind of drone, but usually the drones fly too high for you to actually hear them. That's why they're stealthy. Right?
So it's kind of like those Facebook posts where they have like a full intact 5.56 cartridge with the brass, like,
Leaving.
yeah,
a fucking AR-15 round hit my house. Like,
yeah,
well,
exactly.
I mean, no.
Remember,
Not
if it hits your
really.
ear, it'll take your
If
head
it
off.
threw,
that's what I hear.
So there was just a number of inaccuracies with these stories, and so I said, "All right." I knew the name of this doctor, and I knew that he had a practice in 3 places in Virginia. So I went and I bought his cell phone milk data, his advertising data. When you go into a supermarket, your phone is connecting with the Wi-Fi, and that's why when you go to the checkout counter, you get an ad for Rouse pasta sauce. Because you were standing in front of the pasta sauce aisle for 10 seconds, and the store knows how long you're standing in front of that pasta sauce aisle, so it'll send you a coupon. So I'm like,
Man, I'm
Everyone
scared to
just got scared.
I was like,
Everyone's like,
all right, so
why I turn all my shit off.
You're married, right?
Yes.
You're married.
Well,
so have you ever
effectively.
said to your wife, like, hey, we should go to Italy? And your wife's
I
like,
know. That's how. Yeah.
And then you go to the bathroom and you come back and you look at your phone and you're like, oh, wow, there's ads for Italy. My phone's listening to me. No, your wife Googled trips to Italy. And your home router knows that your two phones are
So that's why I get so many anti-Semitic memes.
Damn her.
And butt plug ads. Yes.
You,
I'm not going
I
to
spend so much time around Connor.
Hey, now. Podcast with Indiana Jones.
I'm suddenly.
Connor just from
Dotson, we got Dotson here.
Connor just yelled, "You're on the podcast with Indiana Jones right now."
So then.
Oh my god! Hold on.
Yeah.
How does one buy cell phone data?
That was the same
Because I
thing.
was under the impression that like you could do that, but I thought you bought it in like
You buy
large
advertising.
batches.
Yeah, you buy it in large batches, and you get it as
So, I mean-
different formats. You can put it into a spreadsheet.
Are you
and
just
then-
like getting lucky though? Like assuming?
Oh
that
no,
you're,
no. So I know what this guy. I know where his 3 offices are, and so I just filter the spreadsheet until I find a phone that consistently is at those 3 particular.
But how do you buy a batch that you know is going to contain his information?
So you buy it for
Snowden
all
tried.
Virginia
Yeah,
for a
geo-
certain,
okay.
yeah. You buy that.
Geolocated.
Yeah, it costs. I think this one cost me $13,000.
Yeah, because like we even
But I
knew
really
like,
love my job.
even during the campaign, like you know, just like to geolocate certain data. It's
Yeah.
like we would go for registered voters within District 23, and like that's just how to be smart about it. Like not to spend large swaths of money. You want to be as strategic as possible, especially with a smaller campaign like mine. We couldn't afford to go like, oh, let's market predominantly on mainstream TV. It's like, no, we want registered Republican voters within this geolocation area.
You guys make me feel bad. You're doing it to catch bad guys. You're trying to win an election. I just do it to sell T-shirts.
But so
I literally make dick and fart jokes as plain. So I'm right there with you, man.
I in this particular
What appears to be
case,
doing pretty well.
Yeah.
I figured out where this guy's three offices were, what cell phone was pinging from that. From that, I figured out where the guy lived, and from that, I can see like, all right, this cell phone never went to IAW, it never went to Dulles, it never showed up at Newark, which are the 2 places you would fly out of if you're going to go to Egypt, which eventually go to Gaza. Never showed up in Cairo, never showed up in Rafah, never showed up in Khan Yunis. This guy lied. He was never in Gaza. He's never in Gaza. And
You're doing fucking God's work out here, man. So this is the thing, and I recently.
That's crazy.
Well, I recently explained to.
I will find you.
The Army. So I was trying to explain to the Army National Guard, and this is the analogy I use, like the power of social media. Like this is why he's doing amazing work, because 23 years ago, September 11th, 2001, the United States suffered the worst terrorist attack in world history. Like world history, not just American history, fucking world history, okay? Now here we are 23 years later, and we have people running around outside of colleges praising terrorism. Yeah. It's because Hamas has a better propaganda campaign on social media than the fucking IDF does.
Oh,
like it's
100%.
It's a
right.
weapon
And it
system.
costs less.
Yeah. Hold on.
TikTok is a weapon system.
Do you have any thoughts on? I just think it's crazy looking at politics because it's like, generally speaking, up until like the 90s, I would say, fuck communism's been a pretty American sentiment across the board, left and right. And then like 2000s, it kind of turned into more of a right-leaning thing of hating, calling Barack Obama a communist, like bashing on communism all the time. But now, for whatever, I'm obviously social media, but like Republicans seem to be the one that sympathize most with Russia. and Democrats seem to be the ones that set the
real
real
quick
with
to-
Hamas.
To peel that
which
back a
is
little bit,
almost
though,
the opposite.
I don't think that's true at all.
An
really?
allegory.
No. Okay.
An allegory that my dad used to say was like in the 1980s with him going to school, he had like a very left-leaning English teacher, and he used to wear a shirt. Like, of course, this is like after 1984, Red Dawn came out, and he had a shirt that had like the fucking Wolverines thing. It said "Better Dead Than Red," and his English teacher hated him for it. Like, she was a very anti-Reagan, anti-everything. Like, very. It's like I feel like this has been a dichotomy within the United States for a while, even if it was a little more subversive than now.
Right.
So
What do you think?
I'm gonna say I'm friends with Sebastian Gorka. He was Trump's former.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's a friend of mine too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Seb.
So I text him every once in a while, and I've been on his show a couple of times.
Yeah.
And we both work at Newsmax together.
Really?
And yeah,
What do you do at Newsmax?
I'm an intel guy. I
Nice.
do commentary like this. How many missiles does Iran have? Iran has 2,500 missiles. You know, I mean, it's a living, right? So I
Way smarter than me.
So I one of the things that President Trump did was President Trump was the first president to send lethal aid to Ukraine, Javelin missiles, which helped win the Battle of Kyiv. And President Trump had the foresight to know that Russia, I don't want to say Russia wasn't a threat, but Russia wasn't the threat that the West was making it out to be. We can give lethal aid to the Ukrainians. President Obama gave blankets and night vision goggles. That's fine. Night vision goggles are very useful. Blankets, I like being warm, right? But President Trump gave lethal aid. Now, when you talk about
What year was this?
this was, trying to remember. I want to say 2019. I did a video about it, but I've also had half this bottle.
Sorry, just to
A little bit more than half.
just to
Your math is off.
sorry, just to add
Uh-huh.
more. I didn't mean necessarily even left wing and right wing politicians. I was just talking about people on social media.
So that's because they're not real.
This is, I think, what we wanted to
Right,
dig
so
into.
Yes,
That's
this
because
is
they're not
the
real. I
dead
don't,
internet theory.
I don't think there's
That's
any.
what I wanted
I don't
to
think
talk
there's
about,
any
sure.
Republicans running around praising Vladimir Putin. There might
No.
be some Republicans who they don't like the idea of giving Ukraine money when we have problems here. I get that. We're really not stuffing C-17s full of pallets of money and parachuting it out over Ukraine.
You mean like we do to Iran?
Well, that's a different story. Do you know the money? Do you know why we give money to Iran? Because Iran supplies about 1/3 of Iraq's power, and so we take that money and we put it into like a fund, and it's either held by Turkey or because I've been asked this question on Newsmax. It's held by either Turkey or South Korea, and then eventually we release those funds. Yeah, we give money
Hold
to
on,
Iran.
I have a pun to make. Iraq, pay your bill. This ain't Section 8, motherfucker.
We can go into why can't Iraq make their own power. That is one thing, but so
They had a thing that happened over the last 20 years.
yeah, right,
They took a big fat L.
yeah. So
I'm sorry. I like that simplification way more.
I'm just saying, like, I'm sorry, all you chuckle fucks out there, and I have a college degree in gender studies, and America lost in Afghanistan and Iraq. Find me a single strategic battle that we lost. I can come into your house, whoop your ass for 20 years, and then when I get bored of you hiding in the closet like a bitch, and I leave, you can tell everybody you won too, you little fucking... Never mind. Sorry.
Is it a bit reductive? Sure. Is it wrong? No.
So I think we're not. One of the reasons that when people say, "Oh, we're giving $56 billion to Ukraine," really what we're doing is we're sending them our old stuff. Well, I'm just tossing a number out there. We're sending them our old stuff. Right. So
It's only about 4 times that. But,
missiles expire.
Right.
You have to shoot them.
Then
There's not
they
enough
cost
days.
more money to get rid of
They cost
safely.
more money to forget. Give them to the Ukrainians. Let them shoot them at the Russians. It saves us money. We get to build new ones. And there's not enough days on the... Dude, once when we train on the ITAS, which is the... what? Well, you're like...
I'm
you
loving
want to
this.
say something?
This is my favorite segment right now. Trust me, I'm just...
Keep going.
I'm
So-
thinking of retention, and I'm like, yes.
Once
Because I have some questions, too, to bounce off after.
Absolutely. So once, we were, when we were training on the ITAS, which is the tow system, the new tow system. We were training on the ITAS, and this guy from Raytheon gave me his card. He said, "Dude, let me know when you have gunnery. We'll bring you as many missiles that you want because they're going to expire. We have to get rid of them. And one time, I think we fired 41 missiles.
Jesus.
In 8 hours.
How much was that just for you taxpayers out there?
A tow missile cost $60,000. But they're going to expire anyway, so it was cheaper to shoot them. Dude, I never thought I would get bored shooting tows. Tows, a wire guided anti-tank missile.
Oh, yeah, I know.
By the end of like the day, we're throwing trash cans up in the air. Pull!
For the record, they have an expiration. It's literally a best buy date.
I mean,
it's not.
You ever bought meat
Hear
at
me out.
HEB? It's the same thing.
The toe fucks.
Here,
The
I'll
toe-
translate. You know how on like 4th of July at like 1 p.m. all the fireworks stands go 75% off?
Yeah.
That's what's going on here.
Yep.
They just don't want to pack this shit up and wait till next
Correct.
year.
Fun fact about the tow missile: more pieces of armor. Apparently, I learned this recently.
First Gulf War?
Were destroyed at the Battle of 73 Easting by tow missiles than were by Abrams. main
It is
battle.
hell on a wire.
Like,
I have a bunker branding
the
t-shirt.
toe fucks. The toe.
Yeah.
I hate that we during my war, it was just our war. The AT-4 just weighed a lot, so we'd shoot those first. And that was like going
Yeah.
on missions
Oh,
with them.
that-
They'll just remember these are lighter if you just carry the tube back. We're like, okay, initiate the ambush with these.
You can usually
It missed.
You can usually tell a weapon system is effective when both sides are co-developing it.
Yeah. That's
Well, the Russians have the Coronet. They have several.
like what I've learned through this whole thing is that Russia has lied a lot, like they always have. But like I did research on China recently, and they just like all of our shit off of Wish is what they have. Like literally, one of their support helicopters is a Black Hawk off of Wish.
Well,
Like
they were going to buy it. We were going to sell them the Black Hawk.
No shit.
Yeah, and
What was
and
their
they,
Black Hawk
It's a good thing we don't buy anything from them.
Z20 or something.
Yeah.
Z60.
It's like a Black Hawk, almost as good, not as good, kind of wrecked, but very cheap, you know. Okay, next
say-
missile system.
the
Okay,
cute-
it's called a tow, but 550 core shoot out and
you do
wreck it.
look a little Asian.
I
so
am
this is
It's the
and you're Hispanic, right?
it's the QZ
Military friend group.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the QZ-blank. It's like something America's already made before.
I mean, well, that's the thing.
Chinese
And so
good.
recently, they stopped developing next generation air dominance. They're just upgrading the F-22. And people are like, well, why are they doing that? The F-22 is dated. And it's like, no, we're so fucking far ahead that like when we go to war, it's like we're being sent back in time. Okay, like that's just the realism of it. No one can fuck with us logistically, navally, like anything.
There's a reason we call it near pure.
Exactly. But
It's insane. Like, the number one Air Force is the Air Force. The number two
is the
The
Navy.
Navy.
And the number 4 is the Marine Corps.
Marine Corps.
Yeah. Just I thought I'd throw that out there.
Logistically, did I ever tell you my chicken sandwich story from Egypt?
Hold on.
What?
Wait.
What?
I want to stay on the bots and people.
Sorry.
That's where we're at. So
I wanna talk about this so fucking
If a
bad.
lot of these
Yeah.
people don't exist because they're bots and it's all misinformation, do you subscribe to dead internet theory?
I don't.
You don't?
But I would
Okay.
like to start killing people.
Let's talk about
Fucking
that.
Christ.
Wow.
No, you're gonna love this. You're gonna love this.
Please
It's gonna be great. I know where he's going.
My side
Please
of this?
elaborate.
So I
I wanted to pose the question, like, for those who don't know, like, because you pointed out a lot of these accounts that you think are Russian bots, and you think a lot of the chatter going on, and especially when it comes to like Twitter and things that are kind of more bot prone, which I think they have gotten better recently. They're basically just bots
have the
talking
bots
to
gotten
bots
better?
that talk to. Well, at least they don't like try to sell me porn every day.
do they?
They talk back and forth, and that just creates fuzz that basically drowns out the real internet of like humans communicating to each other. So basically, at this point, when people try to like put something out on the internet, are you actually talking to other people, or are people largely given up and they're just drowned out by AI or
Sometimes.
bots, things like
Sometimes.
that? Is that a theory that you subscribe to? If not now, happening very soon?
I don't think it's ever going to happen completely because there's always going to be people posting things like, hey, look what I just ate for lunch, right? Like I just posted a message on Twitter saying like, hey, I was just a bunker branding. I met Clint today. Here's some neat footage. So there's
At the
always
same
going to be
time,
people doing that.
Is the Turing test getting harder?
I will. I think if I can speak in on this, looking at the development of AI and VFX, fake AI, dude, watching the new AI and then even female bots, chat bots, and how they can interact with guys,
Yeah, it's all men.
Yeah, and it is like, hey, hold up a picture to prove you're real. They can do that, and you're not going to.
So guys are now spending real whore money talking to a computer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. I don't think that's that far of a stretch to just change it a
Yeah,
little.
yeah, dudes are having
guys.
naughty conversations with like AI Hermione and shit. There's a lot of weebs in my chat.
Because you get to see it now.
Dear God,
yeah, I'm just saying.
IG looking, if you know what you're looking for AI females, and you can see all these profiles that are like hundreds of thousands of followers, and if you know what you're looking for, you're like, that's AI. Majority have no fucking clue it's AI. I'm like, that is absolutely
Well, if it fills a need,
terrifying.
right? Does it really matter?
No, it doesn't matter. But if you're
that's
learning,
a
if that's-
horrifying thing considering the question I asked. But
Yeah, right.
Exactly. It is. It's just learning. So you're like, oh, this is human. If this is a need, how many other needs are there? And then how can we weaponize this?
I
really
was
quickly?
talking with you. How did I know you're real? Right? I was texting you. When I got your phone number from
Ethan, HLC?
Ethan,
The guy next to me.
I think that
the
helps.
fake one.
That genuinely helps my theory.
I'm getting this bottle.
We got it.
that bottle.
I'm
I
Ryan
got
McBeth,
time.
baby.
Let's go.
So actually, one of the things I've been talking about since last September was we need to start kinetically targeting disinformation actors. So if you are a if you're if you are a
Hold on. Well, I'm holding the base button right here. I'm potentially
Not American.
closer.
So if you are
curious.
if you're a civilian working in a munitions factory making artillery rounds for the enemy, are you a valid target? Hell yeah. But if you're working in a disinformation
Only
factory,
because you can potentially be killing our guys.
okay. So
Okay.
let's talk about effectors. Forget about weapons. Let's talk about effectors. When you buy a drill, do you buy a drill because you want a drill, or do you buy a drill because you want a hole?
Okay.
Buy a drill because you want a hole, right? So a drill is a hole effector, right? It creates the hole.
At what point are we sponsored by Raytheon?
It's like, shut the fuck up, Brandon. Some of us shut the to be. Shut up.
I tell you, hold on. He used the term effector. That's Northrop Grumman. Hold on. All right, go ahead.
Cut to you by Nick, Chase
So.
played just a random ad from Raytheon. Don't do that.
So you have
let's get that Raytheon money. Let's go.
why do you use a weapon? You don't buy a Tomahawk missile because you want a Tomahawk missile. You buy a Tomahawk missile because you want an effect on a target. You might want to destroy a bridge. Now let's say you want to deny the enemy the use of a bridge. Cool. You might use a missile or a bomb. You might use a cyber attack.
Have we
Right?
declared war on this enemy?
We're already at war.
Pause. Just wait. Just
Oh,
let him finish real
it gets
quick.
good. We're getting
All right.
We're already at war.
I'm strapped in. Let's go.
So,
Thank you. That makes me feel so much better.
and I'm ready to be gay.
Leave the politician hat off for 5 seconds.
So, so
I'm
My
here.
fellow Americans. I'm sorry.
if
Not that kind.
if a foreign bot network tells a bunch of weak-minded college students to go shut down this bridge because to support Taiwan, and Taiwan has always been Chinese, and by shutting down this bridge, you are fighting the imperialist, colonialist, capitalist United States of America who just wants to use Taiwan for its resources, that's a weapon as well. It is an information weapon, and the effect is the same as blowing up the bridge or using a cyber attack on the bridge. It is exactly the same. It is a weapon system, and these people who launch these weapon systems need to be targeted and killed.
A weapon system that we have been using in almost virtually every country we have fingers in across the planet. And are we allowed to be targeted the same way in response?
Well, that's up to their lawyers, but I'm not aware of Dude, I just genuinely one of the best
Hit the base button.
All right.
Best answer.
Sir. All right.
Aren't you glad you waited?
Let him cook.
I was
I agree, but goddamn.
and then you know what I'll do? I'll go home, I'll crack open a beer, I'll order a pizza, and I'll watch the Nats. And look,
You know what? Goddamn.
Let's fucking go. Let's go.
look,
I'll pay some good shit.
last Sunday, I gave a briefing to the Ohio, to a Judge Advocate General Continuing Education Convention in Ohio. And I laid out my case for this. And I've been talking about this since September of last year. We need to start killing these people. That if we are at war, we need to start kinetically targeting disinformation actors. Might just target the building, might target the data center. We might target these individual people. We might use some stuff that's up close and personal.
Just to be
That's
clear,
weaponeering I don't do.
You're targeting them for speech, to be clear.
Yeah.
Well, hold on.
Well, I'm targeting them for using a weapons system against the United States of America.
I have a question.
By weapon system, you mean speech.
Well, it's speech that's inciting a certain kind of behavior.
So
as
by
a
speech
weapon.
that is inciting a certain behavior, you mean speech.
Hold on. Hold on. Time out. I think there might be these people that
Just to clarify.
the people that you're suggesting targeting are state-funded actors that are going to a job where they have a factory of cell phones with 50,000 social media accounts. And
those are the targets. I'm not targeting somebody who said
Not like a shit poster.
You're not talking
Biden's
about
a poopy
one
head.
Yeah.
If you want to be a
So the only differentiation between those two things is whether or not the person has the IQ to know what they're talking about.
no, the difference is that
they're
it's
just
state-funded.
state-funded and has access
It's
to...
a state-funded weapon system. Look,
So I'll go even further on that.
Oh, man. Do I need to move? Do I need to move?
I like it.
I'm right in
Let's
between.
go.
We were just
What if
talking
it is
about
a
cum
fucking-
last episode.
Military-industrial complex or whatever fucking, redacted-esque company funding these things.
so if you're talking about America, the military-industrial complex doesn't exist.
Well, Eisenhower disagrees.
Well, you know who else said? You know who else said words in 1963? Governor Wallace, right? Who said "Oh, black people
Well,
can't
that
go
was
to
also
school
a
here."
problem.
Yes. So, but look, just so
Stop standing up.
I'm feeling
Eisenhower was right in 1963. However, by 1993, there was this event. It was called
Jurassic
The
Park.
Last Supper. You're right, Jurassic Park. The Last Supper. The Last Supper, essentially all of the top 15 defense contractors were brought into a room in the Pentagon, and they were told, listen, we don't have enough money to pay you all. So you need to start merging, or you need to figure out how to cut costs and shut down.
Is that how Grumman became Northrop Grumman?
That's how Grumman became Northrop Grumman. That's how Lockheed became Lockheed Martin. That's how Raytheon bought up ATK, all these other companies.
Oh, it's RTX now. It's not Raytheon.
And then
sorry.
the military-industrial complex ceased to be a problem after the 90s.
They did. Honestly, so listen, take a wild guess. How much
This
money?
has gotten off the fucking rails in the last 10 minutes.
I
I
love
did a
this
whole
episode.
video about this. You do not want to. You do not want to contest me
I'm
on this
here.
because I
Let's
have
go.
the data.
Do it,
All
brother.
that shit I said about no monopolies, that was wrong. Undo it now.
Take a wild guess. The top 5
I find this
defense.
very intellectually stimulating.
Ethan's like, can I sit here?
I kind of want to swap, man.
No.
Shit, all right.
The top.
Just in case they start swinging.
The top 5 defense contractors. Take a wild guess how
More,
much money
more.
they made. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Take a wild
appreciate it,
guess how
brother.
much
Thank
money
you.
they made. Top 5
Top 5 of
defense. Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, RTX.
over what time
Trillions.
period?
Last year, 2023.
600
Oh,
billion
2023.
dollars.
No,
No,
it's-
200
that's
billion.
pretty, that's pretty low.
2023. Top 5.
All of them?
Less than
All
directly
of them, all
less
5. The top 5.
1.6
less than 20
trillion.
billion.
I think I remember reading Lockheed Martin makes like fucking, I want to say like $2 million a second.
No,
I would say,
dude, it's nuts.
That's okay. I was
13 point. I want to say 13.6 billion.
Okay.
That was pretty close.
Total.
Yeah, less than 20, yeah.
13.6 billion.
That's still.
Do you know how much money Procter and Gamble makes? Made in 2023.
Who's Procter and Gamble?
For Procter and Gamble, they make.
They
that-
make
Yeah, but when they
deodorant,
make
they make
money,
everything,
when they make
everything.
money, brown people don't die
so
directly. They can choke. Procter and Gamble's a gaming company.
So Procter and Gamble made about $14 billion last year. So Procter and Gamble
Equally,
makes
okay.
more money than the top 5 defense companies. Now explain to me.
Now, did they do that in 2011?
I did not grab the data for that, but
I wonder why.
well, look,
Where are these peaks? Yeah, let's look at peaks and valleys.
look, I can tell you this. Do you personally? Well, maybe not you. Do you personally know anybody who works for a defense contractor?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you work in firearms.
I'm a mulligan. I get it.
Yeah. But for most of us, name a single person. Name a single person. A single person
Steve.
who works. Okay. Well, Steve doesn't. Steve's an asshole.
You just say a random
Name a single person that works for a defense contractor.
white name.
So, essentially, what I'm trying to say is that companies like I think it was Apple that made $97 billion in 2023. They don't even hold a candle. So, if you're a congressman and you have Apple in your office and you have a guy from Lockheed Martin in your office, and they both have a briefcase full of money, who are you inviting in first?
Well, I can promise you, as somebody who's seen the inside of that game, which one shows up with the suitcase. One of them organically has the money.
So, for the most part,
Steve shows up a lot of the time.
Steve's a fucking dick and he lives there.
Your counter argument to there no longer existing military-industrial complex that the Northrop Grumman only makes $11 billion.
so
Post-war.
when you compare it to, I think it's the S&P 500. I think that RTX is like number 55. So basically, the whole idea behind the military-industrial complex is that the government is buying planes and tanks and ships that it can't really afford, but we don't need, but we're buying them anyway, and we're doing it
Because they apparently expire.
well. Missiles expire. They do. The missiles expire.
Dude, if you disagree, Dick Cheney will shoot you in the fucking face.
But it's the truth.
down?
This
It is the
F-22 is expiring. We need to pick it up right now.
Sorry, we're in the lightning round now. We're just fucking around.
Just swap out.
But the deal is that when you look at these companies and how much money they make, they don't really make any money. At least compared to
only
I'm
$11
serious.
billion.
At least compared to other companies, McDonald's, Procter and Gamble.
Only the top companies on the planet.
Do you own any stock in Lockheed Martin? Any of the top 5 defense
I was one of the
contractors?
only congressmen that was ever going to take office without owning stock.
Okay.
No, because I'm going to
Does
go to heaven.
anybody here at this table? Does anybody here own a defense contractor stock?
No, because I'm going to heaven.
No, you don't,
Nick's
because
going
they
to
don't make any money.
Nick does.
I do.
You know? What do you own? What do you own?
They just made a lot
Okay,
of
does
money
anybody here
last
at the
month.
table own
I-
a 401k? Or have a 401k?
I am.
There you go. Yeah, the one who owns defense contracting.
So essentially, you don't invest in defense contractors.
I do.
I work for a defense contractor. I work for the Texas.
So
Air
nobody
Med Lab.
has any stock in Boeing.
I don't have any stock in Boeing. I might have an index fund. that might
Boeing's
have it.
kind of having a
As
rough
soon
year.
as I found out that
Boeing,
yeah,
Boeing was not
Boeing's
good.
having some
Lockheed
hiccups
and
right
Martin
now.
made a
People stuck on the
good
space
chunk
station,
last
planes
month.
falling out of the air, doors
As
falling
good as
off.
Apple?
This
We're gonna
is-
skip
I
back.
think
This is not-
Lockheed and Martin tripled their.
Let me talk. Have you ever tried to sell a gun to like the state or to a
felon?
state organization or something like that?
They wouldn't pass the background check.
All right. So look, when I work at the Texas Air Med Lab, it's a company that uses AI-powered drones to.
Yeah, that's a big fucking climb.
That's in
Yeah.
6 months. That was a month ago.
A lot of stocks went up, but
That was literally during
That's
when
aggressive.
the assassination of President Trump. That is what. No, when Biden. It was the assassination, or when Biden. When
The Iranian?
no, Biden stepped down. That
Oh,
was
God.
one of those two things that we seen that giant.
Oh, no, excuse me.
so let's
The Gaza.
have they released their profits for the quarter? Because that's where
well,
you got
the quarter's
that's what
not-
you got to look at.
Over.
Hold on.
Well, last quarter.
That's a
Question for Brandon, because
Answer.
I know that you're very against like the speech thing, targeting government-funded agents about speech. Just playing devil's advocate.
Sure. Let's go for it. Let's
Like
explore.
not generally, the line for freedom of speech is a call to action for violence against other people. So if state-funded actors are promoting violence against other people, does that change your thought process?
In order for that to be true in regards to international diplomacy or different things overseas, you would have to also accept the fact that us calling for action within the UK riots would be grounds for the United Kingdom police to come extradite U.S. citizens, just like they're talking about doing.
Not U.S. citizens. I'm talking about like state-funded agents going to work for 8 hours a day running a bot farm.
Convincing Americans to try and do sketchy shit.
What I think is that and this is what I think for most of social media, to be honest, like, and this is it's a nuanced topic. I don't think that any of the laws have been written or any of the rulings that have been made about the laws that are on the books have considered the ramifications behind what has happened in the last 5-10 years.
That's fair.
That's fair.
I feel like there's no actual legal precedent behind it. We've not found the line. Do you agree with that?
We haven't found the line of when you can kinetically target someone. Because we're trying to figure that out now.
McBeth is over here like, I can do it right now, actually. What do you think I was doing on the plane's Wi-Fi on the way here?
That wasn't exactly what I said, but it's close. It's
Look, I just find them. I don't do the weaponeering. And, when you're
Terrifying human I know now.
How deep are we? The fedora is getting more and more menacing as time goes on.
You thought it was Ryan McBeth. This is El Chapo.
Am I an Iron Dome target if I say it was 5.9 million?
You boys ever played shuffleboard with a mine?
Oh my god.
You'll be fine.
We're gonna figure it out. I'm just bringing it up that it's a problem.